Hi, this is Sean Clinch, the host of Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast, and this episode is brought to you by our friends at Shoal Saloon, your unofficial home to UT men's and women's basketball. You know what time it is, you know what month it is, and you know what time of year it actually is. It's the premier event, perhaps, where college basketball takes center stage. So many people are engaged, and so many people have so much interest in a lot of games. March Madness. Let's talk about it.
Like, words can't express how proud I am of you guys. You'll never forget this. You'll never forget this. And these people here will never forget you. It's worth it.
So powerful. That's a buddy of mine, Steve Lutz, first-year head coach of Western Kentucky University out of Conference USA. Fun fact about Steve, he was an assistant coach at Stephen F. Austin State University when Danny Casper got that program rolling in Nacogdoches. And Steve Lutz went on to places like Purdue, was an understudy and assistant coach, highly regarded. And a fun fact about him, other than he and his family are fine Americans and great people, this is the third consecutive year he's been the head coach of a March Madness Big Dance participant. The previous two, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and now Western Kentucky. What a great job. And what he said is, yeah, fan bases remember those programs which take part in March Madness. In case you're not aware, I'm Sean Clinch, the host of Stories Inside the Man Cave, and these Let's Talk About It episodes are usually much, much shorter. They're abbreviated. And before we get going, let's give a shout out to our guys at Shoal Saloon. Hey, the crawfish are plentiful now, and you'll like the dip in price. Now, there was a scarce supply earlier in the crawfish season in late January, February, and now March. They're bigger and they're more plentiful. Brian Howe, give him a shout, and Ray as well, and the entire staff. Tell them you're fans of Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast, because I love that place, and it's an iconic place here in Austin, Texas. And Honest Plumbing and Air, where a handshake still means something. Those guys really, truly make you feel at home, especially when you have to service your HVAC. And if you're one of those that has to purchase a new HVAC, they're going to lead you right through it in an honest fashion. Hey, before we really dive into this field, the Man Cave's Bracket Challenge, we had a lot of fun last year, a lot of fun with that. And we had so many people who participated in it. Go to ESPN.com and you'll look for the group Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast. One entry per person. I got smart this time. There was so many. There was 9 entries by one person last year, and the winner receives a $100 gift card to Dirty Martin's Place here in Austin, Texas. But the catch is you have to be in the Austin area to win it. If you are the winner, meaning you have to physically go in there and talk to my guy, Daniel Young, who manages and runs the place. Great guy. He's an Austin original like myself, and they are friends of the pod. But you have to be here. Last year, the winner from Minneapolis. And so, I congratulated him, but he gave it up because he had no plans to be in Austin. So $100 gift card to the winner. I believe there are about 49-50 entries currently. Let's try to see if we can get to 70 before the tip-off of the games Thursday morning. All right, as for the good guys here in Austin, Texas, the Texas Longhorns earned the 7th seed in the Midwest region. They'll begin in Charlotte, North Carolina, Thursday evening. They'll face Colorado State, who knocked out, I believe, Virginia. Virginia was absolutely terrible in that play-in game, and it just really makes me wonder if truly, I think Indiana State, one program who got screwed in that deal, to allow a program like Virginia in. I get it. Virginia won the national title 2019. I don't know. I doubt very seriously that had any factor in that. but Virginia, very inept. But Texas now will face Colorado State, who I think could give Texas some problems. Texas is up and down this year. They won 9 games in the best league in the country and the Big 12. And Rodney RT, he complimented his team as they, on Selection Sunday, were notified that they got a 7th seed.
That speaks volumes in terms of what the committee thought about, the body of work that we were able to do over the course of the season, what we were able to do in league play. I mean, we played the best, conference in the country, and I think that speaks volumes to that.
And it does. The Big 12, we could say in Big 12, the Big 12 can carry that banner, but it was a physical grind. I'm not taking anything away from the Big 12, but let's see how the Big 12 truly performs in this March Madness bracket, in the bracket, so to speak, because I would say it would be very disappointing if the Big 12 didn't have 1, maybe 2 representatives in the Final Four. I feel confident that the Big 12 will have at least 1. As for Texas, I'm going to go ahead and take them out in this round 1. I think they're going to have some problems. But when Texas, we know this, whenever they do play aggressively, physically, and really look in sync offensively and are the aggressors, they're impressive. They can beat anyone, but the Longhorns can lose to anyone. And Colorado State's no joke. No joke. The boys from Fort Collins, they're a round 2 type team. But if Texas truly plays who they are capable of playing to that level, they'll win and probably play Rick Barnes, the former Longhorn great head coach, and his Tennessee Volunteers. So as we were talking about the Big 12, who's your national champion? In my bracket, it's Kelvin Sampson and the Houston Cougars. Yeah, they looked atrocious against Iowa State in the Big 12 tournament championship game. But when you live and die sometimes with the 3, those things happen. They look horrific. But that was a contributing factor too by Iowa State. The Cyclones, that is an Elite 8 type program right now, Elite 8 type team, at least Sweet 16. But the Houston Cougars, I think, can win it all. And there's a possibility it could be an all Big 12 national championship game. But a lot has to happen just because the Big 12 has all this power, all these great programs. It's really difficult to navigate to be the final 2 standing or final 4 and have all Big 12 teams. It's just virtually impossible. The last time that I really recall was when I was in junior high. I think it was 85, and there were 3 of the 4 from the Big East. And I think Villanova and Raleigh Massimino won it that year. March Madness upset potential. There's so many analytics, so many trends every year that we talk about these things. The 12 seeds and the 13 seeds almost always are providing those games. Now we're seeing 16 and 15 seeds more often than usual, either being extremely productive and upsetting. I mean, we just saw in recent history a 16 seed taking down a 1 seed. That had never happened until recently. But the 12 and 13 seeds upset potential, it's all 4 of them can do it. These 12 seeds right here, who will face 5 seeds, I think James Madison at McNeese State. James Madison, what a great athletic program they have. And McNeese State out of Lake Charles, Louisiana, conference champions of the Southland Conference. McNeese is legit. Sweet 16 potential, much like their former conference foe was quite often in Stephen F. Austin. Stephen F. Austin, now a member of the Western Athletic Conference. 13 seed upset history. 26 times a 13 seed has won at least 1 game in the NCAA tournament since it expanded its field to 64 in 1985. I think the odds are in those 13 seed favor. That's very impressive. So when you're picking your brackets, these are just tips, but don't say, hey, Clint's told me to do this and he misguided me. I'm just going with potential upsets. 12 and 13 is where you're going to find a lot of them, plus the 11 seed and the 7, 10, and 8, 9 coin tosses. They really are. All right. One of the 4 seeds for the first time in the women's NCAA tournament, they're coming from the live music capital of the world, Austin, Texas.
We thought we had a pretty good shot, but obviously wasn't sure. We would be happy either way. We're glad to be hosting.
Glad to be hosting, and I think what Vic Schaefer and that coaching staff and that Texas women's basketball program, what they faced, losing perhaps the top point guard in the country, only to have a freshman move over and fill that role and learn on the fly, wearing number 35 and being named conference or player of the year in the conference in a stacked Big 12. Amazing job. To go from losing your best player, perhaps, to ending up the season, the regular season, and after the conference tournament as one of the 4 number 1 seeds in the country, remarkable job. If I had a vote, and not because I'm not being biased, Vic Schaefer, National Coach of the Year, hands down. It's a phenomenal job that they have done, and they'll host the first 2 rounds in Austin, Texas at the Moody Center, beginning with Drexel, I believe, Friday afternoon. So my challenge from you, if you're listening and if you're in Austin, go watch these ladies. They're fun. They're aggressive. And Shay Holly, who just spoke, she's one of those that gets after it. They're so aggressive. They get up and down the floor. They're in your face on defense. And be sure to pick, I would venture to say, Texas at least 3 rounds deep in the women's NCAA tournament. But that'd be nice because it is a number 1 seed, a great path for them to make it to the Final Four without a doubt as the number 1 seed. One thing that I did forget to mention during talking about the men's NCAA tournament, of the 4 number 1 seeds that you need to keep an eye out for who will probably get upset early, North Carolina. They're the weakest number 1 seed. They're a good team, but they're not the North Carolina teams of old. Are they deserving a number 1? Yes. There were 8 teams or 6 teams, 6 to 7, who were deserving of number 1 seeds. North Carolina could have easily been flip-flopped to that 5, 6, 7. They can be beat. It would not surprise me if North Carolina does not end up in the Final Four. I'm just saying it. I'm not a UNC hater. I'm just calling it like with the eyeball test what I thought. Hey, one of the next upcoming episodes, I want to share this, and I know this is a very personal topic. You all know who know me and have been following along in my life. One of the toughest moments of my life occurred not even a year ago, and something that we all will experience, losing a parent. I lost my last surviving parent, my mother, back in last May. But for something I'm going to reveal to you guys, I'm adopted. Mama Clinch will always be my mother, but I've always been curious since I was 11 years old, who are my biological mother and father? Who will I ever meet my biological family? Well, that journey is coming up. I have been connected. There's been some work. There's been an individual who has helped me, and I want to share that with you because I want to be a good influence on people who are adopted, who are maybe parents, families who had to give up a child to adoption. Well, all I'll say right here, and I'm going to have 2, 3, 4, 5 mini short episodes on this journey to my biological family. Right there on the left, my maternal grandparents, and on the right, my biological mother. I'll tell you their story. Beautiful people. I hate that I won't have the chance to meet them all, but I am so grateful of who all I've been connected with and who all I am talking to at the moment. It's a beautiful thing, and I just hate for anyone who is adopted to never meet anyone that looks like them or somebody that you share blood with. And I think it's absolutely beautiful. And it's a great way to end this episode, because that is something almost always that you can always say that it's always productive to talk about it.